Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the Cleveland Cavaliers coach being fired today, David Blatt. And I was a little bit shocked by it, maybe. I don't know. A lot of people were not super surprised by this. I was a little bit bewildered. I understand maybe why this was done. But the thing about this is, what I think is interesting is that the Cleveland Cavaliers have been 83-40 regular season record over the last 1.5 seasons with David Blatt, right? They were 30-11 this season. They were 8-2 in their last 10, 20-6 in their conference, and 10-5 out of their conference. I understand the reasons why they did this. I think a lot of it, maybe they felt that LeBron James didn't have the right rapport with David Blatt. I'm sure in a lot of instances he'd be going over, when you go to the sidelines where the coach was, he'd almost be deferring maybe to another, like a player, as opposed to David Blatt as far as talking about what to do in the game. And as far as, I guess, whatever play, perhaps even plays that may be run during that game or games. And really, according to what I researched, this was the best team in NBA history to terminate a coach at midseason at 30-11. So it's very mind-boggling, I'm sure, to a lot of people, and it was to me to some degree. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact maybe they didn't feel like they could they weren't utilizing Kevin Love to get him to play at his maximum potential and ability, and use him to really do the best he could to enhance the team's chances of winning. And another thing about this is that the Cleveland Cavaliers seem like they're not able to beat San Antonio or Golden State. And assuming if the Cleveland Cavaliers do emerge from the Eastern Conference this season, they very likely would play either Golden State or San Antonio. And if you can't beat the upper echelon teams, maybe they just feel that a change would shake this team up. I really don't know if it's going to or not, because now you're talking about a transition period and adjustment that LeBron James and company have to make with this new coach. There was someone, I don't know who it was, but it was someone prominent with the Cleveland Cavaliers organization had said that LeBron James doesn't run this team. Well, they could say that, but I really think a lot of this had to do with the compatibility perhaps between LeBron and David Blatt. And if you remember last season, there was a play that LeBron James made. He made a shot where he was practically falling out of bounds that won a playoff game for the Cleveland Cavaliers at the buzzer. I think it was a buzzer-beating shot. And when he was asked about it after the game, he had said he had scratched the play that David Blatt had given him, and he decided to take it on his own and make his own play up. So I kind of understand the way that if it's showing, not necessarily in a malicious way by LeBron, but if you're not really showing that ultimate respect by listening to what your coach tells you, then I guess you're showing that maybe there's a compatibility issue, and that probably the Cleveland Cavaliers may have figured, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to get rid of David Blatt, or are we going to get rid of LeBron James? And I think that's a no-brainer. We know the answer to that question. Sports, really predominantly, it seems like, has been more of a players type world in recent time. It seems like it's more about, well, if the team is not functioning right, well, we'll do the simpler thing. We'll just get rid of the coach as opposed to shaking the lineup up. And I think this is maybe a classic example of it. I mean, I understand LeBron James is one of the best players in the league, and arguably, I think maybe almost unequivocally, actually, one of the best players in NBA history. I think if he was to retire today, an argument could be made that he's one of the top 10 NBA players in history. So it's a shame that sports, I mean, you have to understand sports is a business, it comes across that people can seem or be perceived as being callous and not having compassion, but people are doing what they think they need to do to get to enhance and augment that team's chances of winning. And if it means they have to terminate and let somebody go, well, unfortunately, that's what they do. And the thing about it is, when you have LeBron James was not, my understanding is that he may not have been able to get the coach that he wanted with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and maybe they could get someone that will have that rapport with LeBron, and there'll be a more of mutual respect from player to coach, so to speak. And I think in that sense, maybe it will be advantageous for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I do have a hard time seeing somebody like that go that really put together a pretty good resume in the last season and a half with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I think they're trying to get something where they can get, they're trying to find someone who will maximize this team's performance and get everybody to play at their maximum potential on a consistent night-to-night basis. And I guess they felt they did what they had to do. I'm not really 100% agreement with what happened, but it is what it is, and they're going to move forward. And I do believe whatever coach they're getting on this team, that the Cleveland Cavaliers, from a personnel standpoint, they're obviously going to make the postseason. They're not going to go any worse than number 3 in the Eastern Conference. I don't have to be a medium or prophet to know that. And I think no one else has to either. And they will probably advance at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I mean, they're gonna try this new coach, and they're gonna see what happens. And to me, the way I see it, I don't think the new coach that they're going to get this season is going to get them further than where they went last season. Last season, they went with a depleted roster and went to 6 games against the Golden State Warriors, who arguably are the best team in the NBA this season, as they were last season. But I guess time will tell and be the determining factor as far as what the Cavaliers' fortunes are this season. And as long as they don't take a Cavalier attitude toward any NBA team, I'm sure they will. They'll likely finish with at least 55 wins and be in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference, if not the best team in the Eastern Conference. But I don't see them winning the NBA Finals this season, no matter who they get as coach. Well, anyway, people, this is Edwin Learnard, and until next time, stay well.